The scandal surrounding the solar company Solyndra widening today as emails from inside the administration show they were under pressure to approve the company's loan guarantee. Lawmakers grilled officials from the Department of Energy and the Office of Management and Budget today at a House hearing to get to the bottom of the $535 million government loan for the now bankrupt company Solyndra. Joining us now, straight from today's hearing, is Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Congresswoman, welcome back to the show. Great to see you.
Good to see you, Jerry.
You know, I've seen less screaming at a Yankees game. People were on fire in this hearing. You sat through the whole thing. Did you hear what you needed to hear?
What I heard from our two witnesses today, Mr. Zients and Mr. Silver, was a little bit of dodging some of the questions that we did have and some of the answers that we were seeking to get on the record. And of course, we're going to have another hearing next week. But Jerry, what we want to do is find out what happened with this taxpayer money. And then when they restructured this loan guarantee, how was it that they put a couple of hedge funds in front of the American taxpayer on the repayment? It's all, there's still a long way to go on this.
Yeah,
we have begun to uncover some good information.
You know, the huge question on who was to get paid first, we'll get back to that in a second. But my big question from today, where were the Solyndra executives? Shouldn't they be answering questions from Congress?
They should be, and we should have them with us next week. And we certainly have questions. Of course, we've been trying to get these answers now. I think subpoenas were sent in July. And as a committee, we have already had a hearing on this. We've been working through this issue. We want to know what happened with the taxpayer funds, why the decision was made to move forward with Solyndra. And when you look at the chronology, when you put it down on paper and you look at how this took place and you look at Solyndra going to DOE to get into this loan guarantee program and go back into 2008 and look at the Bush administrations and where they said no, and then to see this pulled back up after Obama was sworn in as president, it does cause some questions.
I want to give our viewers a chance to hear the tone of the questioning. This is Congressman Tim Murphy questioning the Department of Energy Loans Director Jonathan Server. Listen to this. This is fascinating.
Did the Secretary of Energy have anything to do with this decision, or is he under the bus too?
Not to my knowledge.
So no one's responsible. This is an incredible organization you work for. No one in the federal government is responsible for half a billion dollars of taxpayers' money. This is phenomenal. What do you do for a living?
And that's what it was like there. I want to go to something that you brought up, and that's making sure that the investors got paid back before the American taxpayer. Now, I don't know how you feel, but that is entirely unacceptable. How could that possibly happen when federal law clearly says that the American taxpayer is supposed to be who is served first?
Well, and that is where we're going to dig a little bit deeper, because as we found out how this restructuring was put into place, and Mr. Silver had a memo but didn't read the memo, there's still some cloudiness around that issue, but what we want to do is make certain the taxpayer goes back in front of the investors that were there. There is, you know, it's amazing when you go through the email chain and the back and forth on this, Jerry. There was an awareness by career DOE staff and OMB staff that there were problems with Solyndra. There seemed to be a pushing forward of making this loan from the emails that were there. One of my questions to Mr. Silver today was, did you not have a comprehensive file? Well, there was a file, but we never got clarity as to whether he reviewed that file in detail with those that had previously said no to the Solyndra situation. We even have an email that I read from today that talks about how the analysis of OMB and DOE looking at Solyndra's liquidity issues showed that by September 11 they would be out of money. Well, guess what? You know, they filed for bankruptcy, and the American taxpayer's on the hook.
And apparently all of these loan guarantee approvals were speeded up so that the president and the White House could have a fancy press conference about their green projects. It's
right.
astonishing.
We have the emails
shocking.
of interest. Yes.
I want to ask you, though, it's also come out, and this is another thing that's completely confounding. Apparently, Department of Energy officials sat in on board meetings for Solyndra. Why? And if they did, why wouldn't they know that the company had major financial problems?
Well, and there again, if they were that active a participant in this decision, in this company, then you're right. How could they not have known? In the email chain that we have, the documentation that we have shows that there was an awareness and there was a hesitation, but yet there was a pushing forward to make this. You know, they were going to employ 1,000 people. So Vice President Biden said this is what the Recovery Act is all about. And now we see this company that is in bankruptcy. People have lost their jobs and they are not moving forward on this technology. There are many questions around this DOE loan guarantee program. This heightens the number of questions that we have. I think that at the end of the hearing today, we had a longer list of questions than we had answers. We're going to look forward to having the Solyndra executives in front of us, and we're going to look forward to calling back in OMB and the DOE loan program, the witnesses from today.
I got to ask you this. There are more loan guarantees out there. This program expires at the end of the month. There's about $10 billion sitting out there for some smart company to suck up and maybe blow out. Are you guys going to put an end to this?
I think that we're going to seriously review. One of my comments I made to the chairman today as I was questioning Mr. Silver and Mr. Zients was, my goodness, if we have individuals running these guarantee programs that are not reviewing these files, that are not holding these companies accountable for producing an outcome that will allow them to pay this back, then we have a lot more problems than we had thought that we had. This is taxpayer money. It is being used to help these companies that have a good idea to get a toehold in the marketplace. The taxpayers deserve to be paid back, and for issues like Solyndra, the taxpayer deserves to get some answers.
Well, Congresswoman, I couldn't agree with you more, but I'm going to ask you tonight, will you make a promise to us to stop spending that money on that program since it's been so horrifically wasted?
Precisely. You know, that is what we are trying to do, is to make certain that we recoup and that we put an end to this kind of wasteful spending that is not producing the results. This was stimulus money. The taxpayers deserve to get this back. $500 million that has been wasted.
We can't afford it, that's for darn sure.
No, we cannot.
Congresswoman Blackburn, thanks for coming in. You got to come back. Really appreciate your visit.
Thanks. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you.